Let's talk about the Pistons. Detroit basketball. So Detroit basketball is back this year, actually. I don't know if you guys knew that, but basically Detroit is a backcourt now. I think most people see Jaden Ivey, and it's just really hard to see him not being effective at the next level, especially on a team where he doesn't have to be like the main guy that does everything immediately. They're going to have some decent players surrounding him right off the bat. Cade Cunningham, I expect him to make an all-star team very soon, and I think that he could contend to be an all-star reserve or injury replacement even this season, depending on how good this team does. I saw a tweet about the projected over-under for wins next year, and definitely the number that stood out the most to me was the Detroit Pistons were like in the mid-20s, and I thought that was absolutely ridiculous because after this summer, one of my big conclusions that I came to was that the construction of their team is going really well, and they're making progress in this rebuild because they drafted the right guy, number 1 last year in Cade Cunningham. They drafted the right guy this year at number 5 with Jaden Ivey that I think fits perfectly right next to him. And I'm a really big fan of Saddiq Bey. I see that the guy's been climbing mountains in the offseason, and I think that can only mean good things for the Detroit Pistons as they continue to build this roster from the ground up. They got rid of Jeremy Grant, who was probably their best player, but not really contributing as much as he can contribute now to a team like the Portland Trail Blazers. And I think that a real identity has been established. Also, they're bringing these jerseys back, which is like, that's probably the biggest reason why they will be like a lot better this year, let's be honest. Also, some good free agent signings. Like, they got Alec Burks and Nerlens Noel from the Knicks. Like, just 2 good role players that can do a few things well, add to their depth. Jalen Duren is a guy that could help them immediately, playing the 4 the 5. They really do have a committee of rotation big men that gives them options like Kelly Olynyk, Marvin Bagley, already have beef stew they can really mix and match with and just kind of see what exactly the best combination is. You got your 1, 2, and 3 locked down with Cunningham, Ivey, and Saddiq Bey. And then you got some bench spots that are filled with guys that can play 15 to 20 minutes. I really do think they're going to make the play-in this year as like a 10 seed. I think Cade is ready for that responsibility. Like, you could see as the season was ending, he was figuring it out. He just needed some time, some reps, but I think he really does have that leadership mentality. I think he really does want to make his teammates better. Doesn't strike me as a guy that's just out there to put up numbers, fill a box score, and get a big contract. There is definitely a motivation to put Detroit basketball back on the map because this is a franchise with a history of winning and greatness and rings in multiple generations of years past, and they just have not been relevant for a while. Please, if you know what's good for you, consider betting over 26.5 wins for the Detroit Pistons this year. I think not only have they improved their team, yet they only won 23 games last year. That is easily the reason why it is so low at 26.5, and because you look at the roster and it doesn't really make sense how it would be that low. Well, they were pretty shit last year. They earned that number 5 pick. There's absolutely no doubt about that, but with a year under their belt, I think they've put themselves in great position with these offseason moves to move forward. I will be definitely placing my chips on the Detroit Pistons to win over 26.5 games. And yeah, that's that. Detroit basketball.